Welcome to Global Truth. This is your host, Dr. Nasir Baig. Something profound is shifting in Western politics. For years, mainstream commentators treated the far-right anti-immigrant agenda as a sporadic, uncoordinated phenomenon, a series of angry electoral tantrums or fringe internet subcultures. But behind the scenes, a highly organized, staggeringly wealthy, and deeply powerful lobby is doing something much more dangerous. They are institutionalizing it. Month by month, year by year, they're weaponizing a full-force assault on left, center, and liberal ideologies, and it is gaining terrifying momentum. Let me give you a glimpse of what has been dubbed as the anti-woke Davos. This is the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship Summit, or ARC. It is an annual gathering where the multi-millionaire class rubs shoulders with cultural warriors, evangelical leaders, and far-right populist politicians. They claim they want to relay the foundation of Western civilization. But look closer at the agenda, the attendees, the money, and you see the true blueprint. An aggressive, highly funded effort to mainstream xenophobia, roll back human rights, and redefine the social contract of the West. To understand the danger of this network, we have to look at its roots. The Alliance for Responsible Citizenship was officially formed in June 2023. It was co-founded by a coalition of high-profile right-wing figures, most notably the Canadian clinical psychologist turned cultural war icon Jordan Peterson, who claimed his fame through his lectures and his candid talk and being an extremely logical man who knows psychology at the back of his palm. He, along with Baroness Philippa Stroud and former Australian political leaders, they founded it. Before the most recent convention, ARC had hosted two major global summits before this. The inaugural event took place in late 2023, followed by an expanded gathering in early 2025. Each iteration has grown large, more expensive, and more coordinated, culminating in the 2026 summit in London, which drew over 4,000 delegates from more than 85 countries. On paper, ARC spins its objective in the warm, fluffy language of traditional conservatism. They talk about human flourishing, free enterprise, personal responsibility, and countering global narratives of declinism. But this is the sanitized version for, public's consumption. Underneath the academic veneer lies a massive international apparatus built to reverse decades of progress on immigration, climate action, gender equality, and economic inclusivity. Let's talk about the core theme dominating this summit. It is the absolute mainstreaming of a hardline, far-right, anti-immigrant agenda, backed by a powerful Western lobby that is moving faster and with more force than ever before. Ideas that were considered completely fringe less than a decade ago are now being openly discussed as policy blueprints on the main page. Take a look at the speakers list. From Britain alone, you have Reform UK leader Nigel Farage and conservative figure Kemi Badenoch. They are joined by figures like Nigel Farage's advisor James Orr. The rhetoric echoing through the halls of the London Olympia is chillingly unified. They openly claim that multiculturalism has failed, that mass migration has destroyed Western economic productivity, and that a shrinking population poses an existential threat to Western identity. And by framing immigration not as a policy challenge but as an existential civilizational threat, this lobby seeks to completely delegitimize any center or left-wing ideology that advocates for human rights, diversity, or global solidarity. This isn't just standard political debate, it is a coordinated effort to reshape the global narrative. For immigrants and minority communities across the West, this momentum represents a direct threat to their safety, their legal status, and their sense of belonging. The center and left ideologies that built modern, pluralistic democracies are being actively dismantled by a group that refuses to be ignored. So this brings us to this question that who exactly is sitting in these rooms? The agenda of this summit bridges the gaps between political nationalism, corporate power, and religious fundamentalism. Representing the American right-wing apparatus is Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation and one of the principal architects behind Project 2025, the controversial blueprint to radically overhaul the US federal government. Alongside him, Trump administration officials like US Energy Secretary Chris Wright and State Department figure Sarah Rogers. But what makes ARC uniquely dangerous is how it merges this political far-right agenda with an intense evangelical rally. The summit acts as a launchpad for organizations like the Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, the multi-million-dollar American conservative legal group that played a massive role in rolling back reproductive rights. The ADF is now openly ramping up its operations and funding inside the UK. They're joined by groups like Them Before Us, led by Katie Faust, aiming to push back against marriage equality. And then there is the climate. On what happened to be the hottest day of the year, the summit features figures like Danish climate scientist Bjorn Lomborg, downplaying the climate crisis and attacking net zero targets. Why? Because the money behind this summit is deeply tied to the fossil fuel status quo. None of this is happening organically. This entire movement is fueled by an immense amount of capital. The money figures operating in the background of ARC are the architects of the new populist right. Look at Sir Paul Marshall, the wealthy hedge fund manager and owner of GB News, who has poured millions into bankrolling ARC from its inception. Look at Ben Dello, the billionaire who handed £4 million to Reform UK. And look at the corporate entities quietly listing their attendance and sponsorship. Palantir, Peter Thiel, who doesn't know him? The man who actually doesn't even believe in democracy. The mass surveillance tech giant. Then Rio Tinto, the mining conglomerate. And Anduril, the US-based autonomous military drone manufacturer. This is a dangerous alliance of tech fascism, military industrial capital, fossil fuel interests, and fundamentalist social engineering. They're using their immense wealth to purchase media outlets, fund political parties, and sponsor think tanks to ensure their ideology becomes the dominant force in Western life. The Alliance for Responsible Citizenship wants you to believe they're just defending tradition. But the reality is far more alarming. By gathering the global far right under one roof, they're building a highly organized international syndicate designed to crush liberal democracy. The anti-immigrant rhetoric isn't just a talking point. It is a weaponized narrative that grows stronger every single day, threatening the safety of millions of immigrants and minority communities who call the West home. If the left, the center, and ordinary citizens who believe in human rights and pluralism choose to ignore what is happening at summits like ARC, they do so at their own peril. The anti-woke Davos is no longer on the fringe. They are the mainstream. And they're playing for keeps. So if you do not speak up now, don't take any action, then you only have your own selves to blame. This is all what I had to say. If you have any comments, please do mention that in the comment section below. See you next time.